Welcome to episode 2 of DRIVA Deep Dive. In this second exciting episode, we are joined by Natalia Kotova, Project Director at ThinkLinkers. She has spent over 7 years mastering the art of organizing international events for the data community. Natalia is passionate about connecting people, data and technology, and she's made a name for herself by creating events that go beyond simple knowledge exchange and creating lasting connections and meaningful experiences. With her rich background in business administration, marketing, and finance, Natalia brings a unique perspective on how to blend technical expertise with human connection. During this episode, she takes us behind the scenes, sharing the strategies that have helped her build a loyal online following of over 22,000 data enthusiasts, and how she's fostered a strong sense of community in the world of data analytics. Natalia also delves into the power of storytelling and data communication, explaining how making complex data relatable and accessible can strengthen a data-driven culture. Throughout the episode, Natalia reflects on her journey and explains what it takes to create an impactful event that not only brings together data professionals and thought leaders, but also inspires them to engage, collaborate, and drive change in the industry. So join us for a thought-provoking conversation that highlights the importance of building communities, creating engaging content, and humanizing data for stronger connections. We are excited to share Natalia's insights with you, so get ready for an engaging and inspiring episode 2 of DRIVA Deep Dive with Natalia Kotova. All right, so welcome to today's podcast episode. We have today the pleasure to have Natalia Kotova with us.
Mm-hmm.
Natalia, nice to have you with us today.
Mm-hmm.
And Natalia, you know the river, and now I need to make sure that I pronounce it right.
Yes.
Vltava River? Vltava?
Vltava. Vltava.
Vltava.
Mm-hmm.
Vltava River. Okay. So that's the biggest river of Czech Republic. It goes throughout the entire country, and it's 430 kilometers long.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that?
Well, considering this all the situation that is happening right now,
Yeah.
yes, I've heard about that a couple of times in the news. Yes, it's quite a long river, and I didn't know about it in the first years when I actually moved to Prague.
Okay.
So I realized that then I was going every time to take a swim, during the summer, and every time it would be connected to Vltava. So
Vltava. Yeah, okay. So the reason why I mentioned this river to you is we always start the episode of a podcast with a fun fact about a river. Yeah, I mean, the name of our company, DRIVA, is based on data and river. So DRIVA. Yeah.
So now I know.
Now you know. You never
Yeah.
knew that. Okay.
Even though I do promote your logo everywhere where I actually travel, because I have your
yeah,
bag.
true.
with
You have the bag.
Yes.
Ah, nice. Okay. Yeah. So we start with a fun fact about a river, and yeah, Vltava. Vltava. Actually, do you know that the name of the river comes from a German or Germanic history, and it
Of
was
course.
yeah, of course.
Of course.
Yeah, and there's a
There is a really good connect between
Yeah.
Czech Republic and Germany. So
Yeah.
they really like a good communicators, let's say, between each other. So
Exactly.
yeah, the Czech people love Germans. I don't know about German liking.
No, they do. They do
Okay,
like. They do
it's
like.
good.
I think there's also a strong connection due to also beer. Yeah.
But every time when we meet, actually, and well, we'll get there where I'm coming from and everything. But at certain times, with some of my clients, German clients and Czech clients, like to discuss about where is the best beer, you know?
Yeah, that's a reason. Yeah, that's definitely a discussion point between Germans and Czech. Yeah, definitely. But I think every neighbor country of Germany has this discussion with Germany. But I think Czech actually is quite famous also for their beer. Yeah, so it's interesting. Yeah, and the river name. Actually, it means in German. It means, or in Old Germanic, it means wild water. So due to the nature and that it's crossing and so on. But that's actually not the fun fact that I wanted to share with you. The fun fact that I wanted to share with you is that when it was built by King Charles IV,
Yes.
did you know that they were putting eggs in the
Yes.
mortar.
Yes.
You,
It's a
you,
very traditional thing. We actually still keep it sometimes.
okay,
Over years, I heard about that. And
nice.
there is some celebrations we were talking about it. Actually, I've learned about it like a couple of years ago again,
Yeah,
because I'm not originally from Czech Republic, but I've been living 15 years, so
yeah.
I know a lot about Czech culture, of course.
Nice, nice. So you knew about it. And then did you know that there was one village
Mm-hmm.
that, I mean, for the audience, they don't know about it. So they said like, okay, we bring the eggs and we put it in the mortar so it's more stable. Yeah.
Yes.
And there was one village that brought with them already cooked eggs. Yeah. So they kind of misunderstood. Yeah. And I thought, okay, that's actually a really nice fact that this kind of stuff happened. And it kind of also shows that the communication, yeah, which we want to talk about
Yes.
today, communication and how information is transferred or transmitted between people is changing, and at the end it even gets to the point that
Yes.
such a legend is created. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's interesting how you found out about this stories, to be honest, because even if I found out about it like
Yeah.
just like few years ago,
Okay.
you know, so I don't know how deep did you go into it.
Well, I do my homework before the sessions.
Me too.
That's good. But you, as you mentioned, you're actually not from Prague.
Mm-hmm.
You're actually from Russia.
Yes, originally
Yeah.
from a small city. Well, small city. It's 100,000 people living in there.
Nice.
But actually, the name of the city is Viborg, and there is a
Yeah.
sister in Denmark, with the same name.
Yeah.
Even though this city was Swedish-based,
Yeah.
but when during the Russian Empire, there was a time of Ekaterina, and she basically managed to get Viborg to the Russian Empire, and from that moment it belonged to us.
Okay.
And it's interesting because it's Swedish based, so we have lots of all like how to say now it comes different languages in my head, you
Yes.
know. So we have different architecture, so it's
Yeah.
Scandinavian architecture. We
Yeah.
have actually one of the oldest medieval castle in that
Okay.
isolated. It's in the island.
Okay.
We have amazing as well nature, which is let's say the same way of in Finland, and you probably heard about
Yeah.
it in Sweden and Finland. There is a lot of
Yeah.
green
Exactly.
part of it, and
Yeah.
the lakes and everything. So, and then there is Russian people walking in the city. So it's actually interesting. I have been, even at that time
Yeah.
when I was born, I
Yeah.
was already kind of exposed to the different cultures, because Viborg was one of the most
Yeah.
visited, actually, not only by Russian people, but
Yeah.
also by the Scandinavian people.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. So you always you always were someone that was exposed to different cultures, different mindset.
Exactly.
And you also were kind of, I mean, that's something I think we will cross today quite often, that you are a connector. Yeah. You connect. I think you said it also on your LinkedIn profile. You like to connect, or with passion, you connect
Yes.
people, data,
and
technology.
That's correct.
Yeah, I like
That's
that.
my motto.
Yeah, it's your,
Yeah.
it's your motto, right? And then, but you live in Prague now for quite some long time. You are a project director at ThinkLinkers.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's over 7-8 years I've been working at the ThinkLinkers.
Yeah.
But around 10 years working together with my dear colleague Pio Marola, who is a
Yeah.
founder of ThinkLinkers.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Oh wow. Yeah, that's quite a long time. Yeah. But before we go into that, and because I want to know more about
Of course.
why you moved there and so on. Before that, you were working in business administration and finance, so you touched actually different areas of functional disciplines and so on.
That's correct. Yes. I actually came to Prague to study. So
okay, that was the reason why you
that was the reason why I came to Prague. Yes. Like, let's say the long story short, that's how I ended up. Even though it wasn't my the first decision, I was supposed to be in Finland, but then life happened and I came to Prague. And yes, I studied in the University of New York. Actually, that's a time when I started to learn a little bit of American culture as well.
Okay.
And then, of course, all the people that are from different backgrounds, international students and so on. And I finished the degree on business administration. So with a little bit of deeper, let's say, knowledge into the marketing, you know.
Yeah.
And actually, that's the time when I finished. It was 2015, and the social media was the thing. You know, that's the time when it started to be really like important in the companies. You know, social media experts. You know, and everything. So I was. In the first years when I was learning about that. It was very important in every single company that I worked at. I've worked at the marketing and sales mainly, a little bit of finance as well. All this knowledge really, really helped me to actually get the current role right now at the ThinkLinkers. Because we are a very small team, to be honest, like relatively 10 people, I would say. And it's important that we are all, with a important skills at the company, because sometimes you don't do only sales, you don't do project management, right? You do also many other small things.
Yeah.
And I enjoy that. No complaints here.
Yeah. What I find so really like interesting about your path or the role that you have. I mean, you said that you are like 7 years or 10 years with ThinkLinkers. And you have organized more than 20, I would say, significant events in the area of data. I mean, it starts with master data.
That's true. We had a core topic was all master data at the time. Yeah, the hardcore. And then now we are back to,
Yeah, now it's data, it's analytics, it's also AI. So you give a wide range and you kind of grow also. You evolved and grew.
And you need to evolve, right? There's a time, because you can't be stuck in the one topic. Obviously, we understood that it's no longer just master data. It's everything else. So that's why actually our Think Lab, it's a physical event that we've done. It's no longer MDM called, right? So it's Data Management Think Lab.
Yeah.
But maybe I will give you a bit introduction about our company, what we do, so that you can, understand what you're talking about.
Definitely.
Yeah. So ThinkLinkers actually is a knowledge sharing organization, and it was founded by Pio Marola, my colleague, and he's seen the potential, quite a good potential at the data management, and 10 years ago when we worked together in a different organization.
Okay.
And he was right. As a matter of fact, right now, looking at the situation in 10 years, so data management is super important, and it's becoming more important in every single organization. And it's funny to think, like with how many years ago some of my clients would not even have like data management practices in their organizations, or for instance, there was no even department in data, so it was all about IT, and people didn't even understand, there was really no awareness of what is going on. After COVID, I have to say that we were kind of pushed, and especially business people were pushed to learn what is the data management, right? So and we are here. We are at ThinkLinkers helping out to the data management community to learn, first of all, new trends in data management, learn from each other, network with each other. Either it's offline or online event, or it's a vlogging, what we do at ThinkLinkers. We also do a lot of social media, podcasts or videos and so on. We are a young team after all,
Yeah, I mean, you gave already a nice introduction to ThinkLinkers, and what I found so significant is that none of you was I would say, hardcore data professional or something, but you created an environment where now over these years, in these events that are taking place, whether it's online or offline, in physical presence, you get thought leaders, you get well-known speakers on the topic, you get people from high management areas, from the industry, you get so many different people, together, professional speakers and so on your events, and they share. They share their experience, they share their knowledge, they share their pain.
Very good one, and I will get there. Yes.
Yeah, and I think it's very interesting because you gained a lot of trust from an industry which was, as you said, also evolving. And created that platform, and I find that very significant, because if you see other events, yeah, that take place there. For example, they are from software providers or huge institutions, yeah, that are known for different reasons and so on. But you created something that really is different to the others if you look at the history, yeah, but it's such a strong presence. I mean, we will also talk about your presence on social media, and that you have a follower number of 20,000 plus, yeah, and
Yeah.
I think that's very significant as well, giving under or
But
taking.
we are working only with data management,
Yeah,
right?
and you exactly, that's what I want to say. Like, giving the fact that you are actually in a niche. Yeah, data management is a niche. It's not like you would say like, oh, we are engaging in customer or digital management or digital transformation or something. Yeah,
general kind of topics,
Yeah.
and the bigger communities and so on. Yeah, it is data management is it's a small world, I have to say. So
Yeah.
you know, I also have
Yeah.
to say after 10 years that
Yeah.
I've learned almost all the people in Europe. Now we are going global and everything, so
Yeah.
it's interesting. But yeah, it is true. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be here, to be honest, and that you
Thank you.
invited me and you considered me as a person who, you know,
Yeah.
brought some good, how to say it, so like some good insights, obviously, to this data
Yeah.
management community. I love my job. That's,
Yeah.
I think, comes from the passion
Yeah.
that we have in our company, to be honest.
Yeah.
I believe.
The passion. I mean, that's a good word
When it
that you
comes to
use.
Brian Thompson, you know, like a passion.
The passion. Yeah. Yeah. Brian, you stuck with us. Yeah. So, but the passion you just mentioned, what was attracting you actually? Like when you think about it, I mean, it's you had your experience. You mentioned where your roots are. Then you moved to Prague, yeah, doing your studies there, and then how did you get into the topic? Yeah, I mean, you mentioned that Pio kind of selected it, but was it for you, for yourself? How could you relate to that at that time, yeah, to that topic? So what was driving you or motivating you to say like, okay, I really want to get in this field of master data management, and create this, yeah, this community and in that area?
Very good question, to be honest. You see, I will be very honest, it's not the topic that was, of course, interesting to me, you know, so, but definitely people.
Yeah.
So for me, it was important to communicate. So my main work would be actually working and together with data experts, discuss with them their pain in data management and see how can we help. So I felt good about actually kind of connecting people together, you know, and help them to solve this problem. That's the main kind of thing that, you know, brought me to this.
So you had the impression that people that work in the area of data management, they were kind of,
there was something
there was
lacking,
a lack,
you know?
yes, there was a lack
sure.
of maybe community and.
Very good. We are getting there. So I'm, you know, I'm the person who is super open, extrovert, and communicator. So I'm, you know, we talked about it in our questions. But is data people was difficult at the beginning, I have to say. And maybe thanks to my personality, I kind of managed to talk to people, you know, and learn about them. But them, that was difficult, you know.
What do you mean with difficult? Like it
difficult
sounds like
meaning they're introverts typically, first of all, you know. So that comes already the problem, right? So that you need to start talking and you need to make them talk to you, right? So it's much more complicated to talk to the extrovert or someone who is in marketing or in social media, right? Or project management, somebody who is actually talking and all the time. People that are in data were typically anyway very good in the technical background, so we have this all tech skills and so on, but then there is a lack of soft skills, I have to say. And obviously this is something that in our events we've learned that over years we had always the same topic that was a popular topic among the data people, and it was the how to sell the value of data to the data management or stakeholders.
Interesting that you say it. So you would say like when you engage with this group of people,
this group of people.
which I'm part of. Yeah, and I'm happy about it to be a part of that group. So that you would say that there was a strong experience, or let's say skill set, in more technical areas.
Yes.
Yeah, but this communicating and making sure that people can follow your ideas or the concepts and so on, that was noticeable to you, that there's an issue with that.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
And it still is a problem, to be honest.
Okay.
Because like you said, data is evolving, right? So you have to evolve at the same time, right?
Yeah.
And you need to be a good communicator, but then you need to be also a strategic communicator, you know? So it's important.
So, but given the time that you are dealing with us, do you see some developments, or would you say it's still a kind of strong technical minded, or would you say no, it has actually...
People got it. People got it, that of course we need to work on it, but it's still an issue sometimes to discuss to some people, and they just really go like, I don't need that or something. We stay just in their kind of department zone, exactly, you know. I don't want to be aware of what is happening beyond, you know, this organization that you work at. And that's a time when I come and I encourage people either to speak or to come to our events as a participant, you know, to learn about what is going on actually in the data management community. So what I usually say to my clients is like, why do you need to reinvent the wheel when somebody already did that, right, before you? So you're struggling, you're doing the initiative and the data project, and it doesn't go. You spend your, you know, like top management spend a lot of money, but you don't understand what is the problem, where is the issue, you know. So how do you get these answers? You get answers only when you go out of your comfort zone and you talk to people.
Yeah, but what I just realized is that, I mean, now that you say it, yes, we have the tendency to be more, you know, in the details and working on data models, physical data models, on concepts and operational work, and for us, I mean, again, I include myself into it, like making sure that others understand us, others understand why we are doing these things, is a topic. And yet you still managed to get these people on board and to come together with others, who have a same journey or have on a different on a different phase of the journey, in a room, and they were elaborating and sharing their ideas together.
Yes.
So what value do the attendants see in the events? Because there must be something. So you created a kind of environment where they feel actually
comfortable, of course, to speak. Yeah, so that's a good point, to be honest. In our conferences, we do not allow to have like a big crowd of people. So there is always a limit to 60 people, because the moment when we actually exceeded slightly, we noticed that it's this value of actually opening, you know, to the audience. It was difficult, you know, so for them, obviously this number of people allows them to actually open up and talk to every single person who is in the room, and also talk to the speaker, of course, most importantly, because when you go to the big summits, what do? You exchange your business cards and so on, right? Or if you go to the some conferences organized by the tech companies, right? So no names, but still we understand what we're talking about. So obviously that means that it's more about the show, right? It's not about, to be honest, to learn from each other as much. Yeah, of course, somebody who is looking into, you know, for this, we will look and we will find it. But in our conference, it's just like we create everything for every participant to actually manage to get it, you know, what's important, what's the most important right now happening in data management, or how to communicate, for instance, with a business, right? And so here I want to open a little bit of a topic of, so why do we need to be good communicators, right? So the problem is not, of course, with the We all need soft skills even outside of work, I have to say. But during the work, the data people, we talk to the business, and business doesn't get it, right? So how we don't get it? Because obviously data people typically are tech people, and they don't know how to explain, right? To express themselves sometimes, not everybody, right? But that's where we need to actually use some analogies, right? And talk to the people in their language. So how would CFO understand what is data when he deals with numbers all the time? So obviously the person needs to the data person needs to show how data is important in numbers then. If no, you know what I mean, right?
No, I fully agree with you. And that brings me to the question of, I mean, as you said, you're dealing with these professionals, and you, first of all, try to give them a stage where they can share their experience, and then you're hearing their topics, what they could talk about, what would be their interest in, and I think most of the time the topics that they select is something that keeps them busy at the moment. At least that's what is driving me. When I have a topic that I talk about, that's something that I say, like, okay, I'm right now dealing with that topic, and it maybe is a success or it gives me a headache. So I would like to share it with the audience. Now you hear a lot of opinions about different topics. And as we said, I mean, you were coming not from a data management background. How do you support now your speakers in selecting the right topics? Because you must, I think you were hearing the same topic, for example, several times. But how do you connect on the topics and tell them, well, that's a good topic, you should speak about that? Or how do you support them? How can we imagine that?
So if we're talking a little bit about then maybe my processes at work, I do like to talk to people and schedule a call. So I don't actually, look at our request speaker applications and say, okay, good company, good job title. No. I talk to the person, I schedule a call, I have like half an hour minimum of a talk, understanding what is happening in the organization, what is he or she dealing to with right now. And it is true that we are typically choosing the topic of what we're doing currently right now, or if we finish the data initiative and we understand, okay, so here's what we learned about it. So that's what I actually usually even, say to my speakers that they come, is to choose a topic which is they're passionate about. Because like this, we can talk about the topic, like enthusiastically, and we can create the presentation nicely because we've done it and we've learned it and we share this. And I say to them, don't be afraid about sharing your lessons, right? So some failures, for instance, what you've done wrong, because then another person in this room will go through this again and say, okay, I've learned about in this conference at the Think Lab that you shouldn't do it this way. And he will come to the top management and say, we shouldn't do this. So it means it's millions of users are saved because he's not going to go the same way because he knew about it from another person. So I encourage. I do like to have presentations about the projects that fail. To be honest, more than sometimes the successful stories, because I love also the speakers that are not egocentric, but the people that are just passionate about the topic.
Okay, interesting. But I mean, you hearing these stories. I have to follow back on this a little bit.
Sure.
So you're hearing the topics. And now you have to make sure that it is fitting to the other topics, and you need to make sure that it's attracting also the audience. So that again, I mean, psychologically speaking, you're addressing here two audience. The one that is a little bit, let's say, shy in a way, or maybe not that well skilled, in sharing the knowledge and sharing the story. So you need to kind of motivate them to speak, and then on the same time, you need them to speak about topics that the others that are attending are also relating to. And I find that very tricky. Do you agree? Is that tricky? Or is that actually really easy for you?
Well, I don't know, maybe because I've been many years in this job and it feels like, I'm enjoying it so much and I kind of know, right? But maybe you're right, if I would think about myself first years, of course, like first 2-3 years was a struggle for me to understand even like all these data terminologies and everything. Honestly, I mean, it still is a problem sometimes because it's always something new coming up. Every 6 months I have to do a new research and everything. But the good thing is that there are still the topics that are always in the repeat, So we know that. And in our conference, we make sure that every single participant is active participant. So it's actually not only about the speakers, to be honest, it's also about attendees that come and they can speak up. So our format allows this, so we can communicate this each other in the small round table and then also present it. You've been in our Think Lab, you know how it is.
I know, and I must say, what I was noticing, I mean, I have been to many events, and I can relate to what you're saying, the number of attendants or attendees, keeping it small, that you can talk to people easily, and it has a really community vibe, so it's really a place where people like to share, and like to learn from each other, and I appreciate that, and to be part of that, and I think it's a healthy environment that you have created there. You mentioned that there's always movement on the topics, and there's like topics that you also need to kind of engage with to keep up, the trends and so on. How can we, like, how do you do it? Like, as an outsider, that someone that is not working in a company day to day with data related or data management topics, how do you keep yourself up to date on trends and the topics?
Obviously by talking to the people, right? So of course a little bit of research and so on, but I'm the person. I'm not saying it works for everybody, right? So for me it's easier not to Google, use the AI GPT and so on. So I will definitely talk to a person.
Nice.
Or people in general. And that's where it comes maybe a little bit of the help of a LinkedIn community that I have created. So because I have that number of people, I can actually talk to them through the polls and so on, and asking them what's something which is important right now, currently at your role, that you want to, let's say, embrace or you want to learn about, right? So then I talk and I communicate, schedule calls, discuss with people, and that's how I create our agendas.
Okay, nice. Now, a question that I always wanted to ask you, and now you can share it with all of us. Like, as I said, you had more than 20 events organized, and you have to those ones that don't know, maybe ThinkLinkers and the events that you do, you have the Master Data Marathon, which is a 24 hours.
You see, you really remember about that, but that was the first 4 marathons that we had non-stop and everything, but everybody, that was so something new that people were not expecting, and you still even remember this way. So now in the modern marathons, we do not do a non-stop, of course. We do split into 2 days because we all need to have a rest and sleep, but then that was the best time of my life, probably in my career. Marathon really had an amazing vibe. Exactly.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, it came out during COVID.
Exactly. Because we couldn't, right, to do offline events, so we needed to do something. It's the time when the Scott Taylor name pops up. He just came to us and said, we should do something together, because we actually knew Scott Taylor before that. He came to a couple of our conferences at Berlin, and then during the COVID, he said, like, I was thinking about a crazy idea, and then I thought about who is so crazy like me, so it's ThinkLinkers, so let's just do something and this is how the Master Data Marathon was born. And that's a project that is actually I still pushing forward, even though let's say we have our projects happening, and we're also as a company evolving. We do also digital marketing right now for the tech companies, as you know. So I still push and I still ask people, we have to do it because it's a global event that people were looking for. We've done so much for this, so why not to continue? I
mean, as you just said it, I mean, for me, it's kind of stuck, this Master Data Marathon, and I see these images, MDM, and the wrinkles below the eyes,
yes,
and
yes,
then the
yes.
coffee mugs and this and that, and it was like around the world, around the globe, like
Yes, global,
yeah,
super global.
super global, and like people were engaged, and from I know that I was sitting in calls with people
We
from
had a goal of having every single country almost
yeah,
to find
yeah.
to speak. I remember how I asked my colleague Nadia to find somebody from China. He needs to speak. So,
Okay.
like I was just like, it's impossible, Natalia, and I'm like, you need to do impossible here.
So how many countries did you cover then?
Well, I think it was around like 50, like
That's still
5.
a
I mean,
large
come on,
number.
there was a good.
Yeah.
Even when we get Australia, I was happy, you know.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, what I'm trying to say is an exaggeration and everything. But I did ask a lot, you know, and
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
Nadia. But Kier, who was our designer, I
Yeah.
said something. I need a trailer, and I
Yeah.
need a trailer to be like, do you know IMAX?
Yeah.
So do you remember when it comes out and like
Yeah.
the thing and it's like amazing? You feel like that it's
Yeah.
next to your eyes. I'm like, do something like this, and she's
Yeah.
like, what?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, we need to do something super crazy. So yeah, I was super passionate about it, and I still am. So it's why it still exists. To be
It still
honest.
exists.
Yeah.
I think it's nice because you have these different, as you said, event and types, yeah, with on-site and off-site, on-site and online, and it has a different vibe. Yeah, the marathon online, it has a different vibe. Again, also due to the fact that, I mean, I was in a call and there were people from, yeah, Nigeria. They were in the same call people from South Africa, from England, from Ireland, yeah, and you had like a mixed audience, and then you could talk to them and see like, okay, wow, yeah, so these issues are globally an issue,
Exactly,
yeah, or these
exactly.
topics are
You
a
get to
global
this
topic.
level, right? So it
Exactly.
wasn't just in Europe where you would
Exactly,
sit in the conference
exactly.
and thinking it's only here. No.
Exactly. So if you have an event like, let's say in Frankfurt, Berlin, Prague, or wherever, you see people who are mainly from Europe, yeah, Europe, UK, yeah, and then that's the audience. So they have to deal with the same regulations, same, yeah, now it's GDPR or this Sustainability, AI Act, and this and that. So you see there's a common theme, kind of, yeah. But China, US, yeah, countries from Africa, what are you having there, yeah? So what is your topics? And I like that, yeah. So to have to being exposed to these kind of different topics, yeah, and some of these countries were far ahead of us, so we could learn actually from them because they were already going through some processes, yeah. So I like that, yeah, I really like that. Now, as I said, you have been to many events, you have organized many events, you have heard a lot of topics. If I ask you now, and you have to give me a straight answer, what was the best and the worst presentation you have here to? You don't need to mention names or companies or something, but something that immediately comes to your mind.
My God. It's not like it means that it's a worst presentation, but you asked me, right?
Yeah,
First,
exactly.
but
Like
that
from
really
your
was a
perspective.
nightmare for me.
Yeah.
It was during marathon. It was crazy, and it was Scott Taylor was moderating that one still.
Okay.
And we had a recording, of course, because marathon was an online event. We need
Yeah.
to make sure that
Yeah.
people were sending us the recordings. There was one guy, I don't remember exactly where he was coming from and what's the company, but the point is that somehow the recording was constantly every 5-7 minutes starting from the beginning, and it would be some starting like hello there and everybody would just wake up, you know.
Okay.
So like that
Oh,
part, you know,
okay.
and when it continues, but that first intro was somehow popping up every 5-7 minutes, and I'm
wow.
like, oh my God, like what is going on? So
Yeah.
what are we gonna do? But you can't really
No, it's a live
you
session,
just
yeah.
exactly, it's a live session, you just go on.
Yeah.
But everybody, of course, I mean, you take it a little bit with you know, like a pinch of
Yeah.
yeah. So obviously people are like, okay, it's fine. I mean, it's just funny that every time somebody would say every 5-7 minutes, good morning or hi everyone, you know. And so, but that would definitely make sure that people were awake during the marathon. So yeah, but it was of course for the people who were nothing, but for the people that are behind like us, believe me, I felt absolutely like destroyed. I was like, what are we gonna do? We have to think of a plan B, and I always have plan B, plan C.
Yeah.
So there was no.
That's funny. Somewhere in the world, it was like 5 or 6 a.m. in the morning.
Exactly.
And he's watching it and sees like this loop of hello, good morning.
Yes. It was
That's funny.
crazy.
That's funny. Yeah.
Well, one of the best presentations, I have to say, it was actually about the people that were thinking of analogies, right? So we would tell the story using some interesting ways of doing it. So there was a guy, actually friend of Scott Taylor. I used to invite him every time at the marathon. He was bringing his Lego. So he was showing the and bringing the, talking about the presentation, and of course people like Lego. Many people like it. Okay.
Yeah, of course.
So
I
and you
love
can
it.
understand. I mean, the kids will understand what is data
Yeah.
when you use Lego, no?
Yeah.
So
Okay, so he had Lego pieces in front of him
yeah, he was actually literally
and
showing
building
some
something.
and
wow.
explaining just an analogy of it.
That's very interesting. Yeah.
Somebody used the Star Wars, I still remember. Of course,
Yeah.
Star Wars. I mean,
Star Wars, yeah.
yeah,
Very nerdy.
yeah. I'm not fan of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, for data community, it's gonna be disappointment. Yeah. But Star Trek at least, yes.
Yeah, you're a Star Trek person
Yes.
rather than a. Okay, how about why?
Just like that, I liked it. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's how it happened. But maybe that's what was. It was just like more interesting for me. It's
Okay.
personal. Yeah, but to be honest, if we're talking about like what I really like, it's Harry Potter, because I'm a generation of Harry Potter.
Okay,
Yes.
interesting.
And I don't think data can relate to this, and I don't think even main generations can understand it. It's still,
Yeah.
it's getting there. Maybe in 20 years, I think we will be talking about presentations of data management as Harry Potter. I don't know how, but
Really?
who knows?
I think I think that a lot of people from the data segment or group can relate to Harry Potter.
Depends on the
Age.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
I
Well,
was growing it, exactly.
you
I
were-
finished
okay.
school when it was the last movie.
Yeah, okay,
So-
okay. I mean, no, I cannot say that I'm a Harry Potter fan, so I actually support your judgment. I was more Lord of the Rings.
Well, it's a good one.
Yeah, I was more Lord of the Rings when I grew up, and then definitely Marvel's movies.
Marvels are the best.
Yeah,
Marvels are the best. Like
yeah, and I always think like, okay, I need to kind of make a presentation related
That's a
to
good
Marvel.
one. Yeah, definitely.
I think that
the
would
best.
be good.
I used some, actually
Yeah.
used some memes for data in
Yeah.
the Harry Potter style
Yeah.
and then Marvel style, because
Nice.
that's what I'm passionate about it.
Yeah.
So why not?
Interesting. Okay, I will get back on this storytelling aspect throughout the session later on with you. But now, what I would like to ask you is now again, like, as you are kind of very objective dealing with the data management community, how do you see all these trends popping up? Like, what is your observation? I mean, you are dealing with the community for 10 years. Yeah, you must seen a lot of hypes and buzzwords coming and going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coming back with
Coming
a
back,
different
yeah.
name. So
Yeah, but could you give examples of what was already always there for you, and now it came back with a new kind of shape or code or coloring? Yeah. Could you give us an example?
I want to take from this question about the trends and
Yeah.
what I've noticed as well. I think I would like to discuss about dear topic to me personally. It's about data, women and data.
Women in data. Yeah.
And it's also evolved.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's something that I don't even know who came up with it, to be honest. How did it get so popular? Who knows? Maybe even me, who knows? Maybe somehow it, like 5 years ago when I talked about it all the time with people, like, where the hell are women?
Yeah.
So it's how it was, created. Who knows? But the thing is, of course, first years was also for me to be in the community of data people were a little bit, complicated, because I noticed that okay, how can I ask some women to come to our event if there is like, out of 10 speakers, 8 speakers are men?
Yeah.
So, of course, for me, it was a big challenge to find some women talking about data.
Yeah.
And of course, we worked, but less of them. Now, during these years, I noticed, of course, you noticed yourself, there are many more women and they have a voice, and it's important, right? I'm happy to see at this time, ThinkLab, that we actually have upcoming one. I have really 50-50, like even a little bit of more women talking. And I do push this topic hard because it's important. I think that's how you actually make sure that there is a change.
Yeah.
And it's also evolved, right? It's not only about women and data, but it's also about women in leadership now, to be honest.
Okay.
So women can get to the data department, right?
Yeah.
It's not a problem. But then how do we grow in the company?
Yeah.
In the company, still a man is a typically a boss, you know, and
Yeah.
making decisions. That's a little bit still an issue, in my opinion.
But why is it an issue? Why do you think? I mean, based on your experience and the conversations that you have, yeah, what is the issue? Because for me, for example, when I talk about data community, I don't see, like, for me, like, I would say that I addressed everyone, yeah, and but I can understand that for women it's a different thing, yeah. I don't see a difference, but women, like, if I would look, for example, for another opinion, yeah, I would look for the opinion. For me, it doesn't matter from who this opinion is coming, yeah.
And I'm happy, of course,
yeah.
that you are getting there, you're
Yeah.
getting it in everything. But
Yeah.
when we are talking about the leadership still,
Yeah.
You can see that there are a lot of still men in the data
Yeah.
departments at the handling, right, and the decisions. What I'm trying to say is that it would be great to have a bit of more women in these leadership roles, because women tend to be more empathetic people, you know.
Yeah.
So it's important in the data.
Yeah.
Men are more strict, right? And you know how it is. It's important to have this equilibrium, right? And the balance in the data. It's everywhere in the nature, right? And
I fully agree.
outside of work and the data as well, the same thing. So in order to actually have successful project, it's also important to have this diversity in the leadership roles too.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
It's not even about listening. I think people are there. It's not an issue any longer, I believe. But the leadership is still.
But I mean, your experience, and you said it has evolved as well, which is good. Yeah, I mean, and I agree with you that women bring other skill set to the table, very important ones. Yeah, and I would say they are as much as qualified than a man in these leadership roles. Yeah, now. Again, it's a hard question for you, yeah. But as an outsider observing that, why it was not so existing in the past, and what has changed so now that women are more and more in this leading position? Do you have an opinion on that? Is it just the fact that women have proven themselves that to be as good as men?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
It's just, I think, natural. It came natural that we understood that there is something that was missing, and that there's an increase of women being in the data. We noticed that there is actually improvements in this. I believe that's a result of a project, you know, as well.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's this. It's a hard question, to be honest. I don't know an answer to this. It's just a theory, right?
Yeah, I mean, it is obvious. It is. I mean, it is true. If we look into the community, then 5 years ago there were much more men than women, and now it is changing. Also at the events, but I like the. I mean, I'm reflecting right now while I was listening to you about the statement that the soft skill part, the communication part, and naturally women are a little bit gifted more.
Exactly. What I was saying is they are good communicators and they're empathetic. So obviously we are gonna talk to.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, now when I have an example in my head where we had a kind of set up in a company where the opponent side was a man, and he was very kind of, you know, like black and white thinking, and I tried to, you know, like kind of engage with him in a conversation and tell him like, look, there's nothing wrong with what you have done, yeah, but the company wants to move in this direction, yeah, and we need to change for that. And he was really strict, and he felt offended,
of course,
that I was telling him, you need to change, or the way you kind of dealing with the topics needs to change. And it was like the topic was like, okay, a man is telling me now how to deal with that, and he couldn't deal with that. And then my colleague came in, who has much more experience than me, so she was much more senior and also well versed in SAP and application and so on. And she was basically giving him the same message, but in a different way. Yes, she was more calm. She was more like sensitive to him, and he got it. And she was like, "Yeah, what was the issue, Najim? That was an easy one." So like,
Of course.
yeah,
Because you know how women then it's actually
Yeah.
interesting. It comes to our as well
Yeah.
work. Then
Yeah.
I talk to men, it goes well. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Then I talk to women, goes well sometimes. Maybe
Yeah.
you know how it is. You know,
Yeah.
naturally
yeah,
opposite.
Yeah.
You know, works well. But of course, for a man to speak to a man,
yeah.
it never worked almost.
Yeah.
Like 90% is just
Okay.
at the beginning. There is
Yeah.
always some
Yeah.
wall,
Yeah.
and you need to break it. And it's
Yeah.
difficult for a woman. You don't need to break anything at the beginning. It's you are a woman. You communicate, so you naturally already kind of more trustful. I don't know. I didn't want to say that and respond to this because yes, I truly believe that women are more. We are soft. We are better communicators naturally. But
Yeah,
again,
and
I don't want to offend anybody. It
No,
can
no.
be exceptional and everything, but in general, I believe it is really true.
I think that hard skills can be learned by anyone. Yeah.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. So
You
and
take a training, you pay, you go
exactly.
through this
Yeah.
and
I
you
mean,
learn.
like I can see if I look for women in tech or women in
Yes.
data, I have plenty of names in front of my head that are really thought leaders. Yeah. And they are in high positions. Yeah. Whether it's Google or other companies. Yeah. So, and I think really it is the hard skill part is not the topic. It's really about this, as you said, making sure the communication is fitting, making the audience getting you. And I think that women by nature have a different kind of level of patience.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we feel. You know, we feel.
Yeah.
They're
And
more sensitive in this sense, but they
Yeah.
also feel the situation, what is happening, you know.
the environment of the room, yeah, the non-verbal communication as well as the verbal communication. Yeah. So, and I think, I mean, again, we have no scientific evidence for our judgments or our statements, and we cannot give you now like percentages, but it's the experience that you and I
Yes.
kind of
We had that.
yeah, it's matching, and I agree in that sense. Yeah, so I think it makes perfect sense for me to have more women in these positions because we go through a change. Yeah,
Absolutely.
and a change needs to be addressed with different skill set, different mindsets, and it requires different methods in a way. Yeah, so it's not only this or only that, and the mixture in these positions or in a team is required in that sense. Yeah, so I would also like to see more thought exchange, yeah, amongst women and men and women, and I think again ThinkLab is here giving an environment for that. Yeah. So I think it's also something that the community is appreciating. Yeah.
I hope so.
Great. Okay. So we will park this conversation.
Good, you came at the same point. I need to drink. So I need to drink. And
Yeah, go. We take a break, a short break,
Yeah.
and then we will continue. Yeah?